We will do it. We're going to throw Barton Springs' first pride. Jake is just starting to enjoy life as his school's first openly gay kid. While his family and friends are accepting and supportive, the same can't be said about everyone in their small town of Barton Springs, Ohio. When Jake's dad hangs a comically large pride flag in their front yard in an overblown show of love, the mayor begins to receive complaints. A few people are even concerned the flag will lead to something truly outlandish, a pride parade. Except Jake doesn't think that's a ridiculous idea. Why can't they hold a pride festival in Barton Springs? The problem is Jake knows he'll have to get approval from the town council, and the mayor won't be on his side. And as Jake and his friends try to find a way to bring pride to Barton Springs, it seems suspicious that the mayor's son, Brett, suddenly wants to spend time with Jake. But someone that cute couldn't possibly be in league with his mayoral mother, could he? Here is a preview of Small Town Pride by Phil Stamper. It's all cornfields from this side of the bus. Empty cornfields. According to my daily planner, it's almost officially spring, but it still feels like winter won't let go. This is by far the worst time of the year. The frost flicks off the grass onto my ankles when I run to the bus in the morning, and even on my way home from school, I have to wear a coat. All that cold, yet there's no snow. No snow days. And, to top it off, all I get on my bus ride home is this view of dirt. It's almost time to plant corn, which I know from experience. Well, kind of. See, I spend almost all my downtime playing Songbird Hollow, this farming simulation video game where you can do all kinds of things. Build farms, fish in rivers, get to know the other townspeople. You can make friends with the other villagers. You can even fall in love and get married if that's your thing. And in this game, no one cares who you are, how you act, or what you look like. But I do it for the farming. In real life, you'd never find me on a tractor, but my farm in Songbird Hollow is massive. I've learned a lot about farming from the game, so I know that here in the coming weeks, I'll be able to watch the corn slowly grow outside my bus window, which will finally give me something to look at on my ride home that isn't cold dirt. Something to distract me from the awkwardness waiting for me at home. I wonder if all bus rides will feel like this from now on. Did coming out to my parents really change things forever? Or will this pass? I decide that definitely, probably it will pass, and then I resume staring out my boring window. At least if I were on the left side of the bus, I'd see a few cars and trucks drive by, and I'd get the full view of the mayor's house as we pull up to our stop. I have a running bet with Jenna if they'll ever take down their tacky Christmas decorations. But I guess when you're the mayor, you can do whatever you want, including seasonally inappropriate decorations. My mind drifts while I watch the fields turn into woods, and I feel the urge to rest my head on the cool glass. But just as I do, Jenna nudges me in the ribs. I gasp, rubbing the ache as I turn to her. What? I ask. Jake! She throws her hands up in the air. I just had an entire conversation with you and you were zoned out the whole time. It's not really a conversation if you're the only one talking, I snap, still wincing in pain. Don't be rude, she says with a sigh. Anyway, I was talking about you, so that should count. I smirk, then take in Jenna's gaze. It's almost scary the way she looks at me, so I better do some remembering. I try to recall any of the words she lobbed at me over the past 5 minutes, but I come up blank. My mind was elsewhere. There's a hint of concern in her face, and she keeps petting her frizzy blonde hair, waiting for a response. When I don't give her one, she rolls her eyes and her face turns a light shade of pink. I've got to be honest with her about this weekend, and quick. I was asking you why your dad's been so weird, she says. I guess I'll do the whole story again. Your dad and I were cutting grass at the same time yesterday. Side note, how do you get out of mowing the grass as a weekly chore? It seems unfair. Anyway, so we're cutting the grass, and he stops his riding mower out back where our yards meet. Then he just thanks me out of nowhere. For what? I laugh. Did he thank you for accidentally leaving that strip of grass between our driveways, uncut, like you do every week? Once you get past the first cornfield, the McDonald's, the soy fields, 2 gas stations, and the second and third cornfields, you'll get to a strip of houses that are a lot closer together. We call it downtown Barton Springs. And that's where me and Jenna live, side-by-side neighbors since we were toddlers. Calling it downtown always feels like a joke, though. It's just a strip of houses flanked by, you guessed it, cornfields. We're on Main Street, the only street that cuts straight through our village. You're not funny, she says. But wait, I actually want to know why you don't have to cut the grass. You have a riding mower. You have no excuse. I have grass allergies, I say, but I'm interrupted by her scoffing. Fine, I just really hate cutting the grass. Dad makes me do all the laundry every week, and in return, he doesn't make me do outside chores. Anyway, what did he say? Being neighbors forever, it's not weird for our families to say hello from time to time, even if that hello devolves into a 20-minute conversation outside where you start catching up about family, friends, church, weather, and pretty much anything else until one of you says, well, I'll let you go. Country code for, okay, bye. He just thanked me for being your friend. So I got all awkward and was like, well, of course I'm Jake's friend. He has a Nintendo Switch and I don't. Then I had to explain the concept of jokes to your dad. All in all, it was not a great time. Oh, well, I say, here we go. Maybe by talking about it, I can figure out how I really feel about it. Turning to Jenna, I lower my voice. I kind of maybe came out to them on Saturday. You what? Is that why you were MIA all weekend? We've been planning this for months, and you didn't tell me it was happening? I could have been ready with tissues or ice cream or fireworks or whatever the occasion called for. How did it go? Are you okay? We'd run through dozens of scenarios on how I'd do it. It's kind of been our favorite bus activity lately, but I've always been too cowardly to go through with it. See, I'm out to a whole list of people my age, and they've all been really cool about it. But each time, I felt like I was practicing for this one ultra scary moment, telling my family. I always said I'd tell Mom and Dad whenever it felt right. We'd sit down, I'd confidently break the news to them, and then we'd all hug it out. But months went by, and it never felt right. It was easy telling Jenna, sure, but telling my family? I wondered if I'd ever feel ready for that. But I also knew I was running out of time. Word gets around quickly in this town, especially when half the school knows, and your mom is the janitor. This didn't follow any of our plans, I say. Believe me, it just came up, and I told them. But it went well, I think. My stomach clenches to stop all the uncomfortable feelings rattling around in there. I still feel a little weird about it, though. Jenna grabs my hand, and the butterflies in my chest settle, if only for a bit. She's a first-class weirdo, but she's always been there for me. Maybe I should have told her right when it happened, but I couldn't find the words. Mom handled it better, I finally say, but I think Dad was just surprised big time. He's cool, though. I mean, he voted for Biden. Sure, she says, but who he votes for doesn't mean he's, like, automatically accepting of it or accepting of you. Though if he's out there thanking me for being your friend, he must have come around to it, right? This is why I didn't want to talk about it. My parents were good. They said the things they were supposed to. They were supportive. Still, a part of me wanted more. I thought I'd feel like a whole new person, confident, full of pride. It's not like they did anything wrong, but I wanted them to, I don't know, prove to me that this doesn't change anything. Make me feel like my whole family supports me. My whole village supports me. My eyes turn back to the window. How do people in cities or even in the suburbs zone out when they need to think? Do the skyscrapers all blend together? The people? There's nothing like staring out at the fields, hoping the answer pops through like summer corn. Was he just sad about it, she asks. He seemed sad when he thanked me. Not sad about you being gay, I'm sure, but maybe he was sad he didn't know earlier. Did you tell him? You told me first. Maybe he's jealous. No, that would be weird. I mean, you and I have been best friends forever. But as far as grown-up interactions go, it was an 8 or 9 on the awkward scale. Then it clicks. He was sad. Picture this. It's last Saturday, before family dinner night. I'm doing homework in the living room. Dad's on the recliner, dozing in and out after his weekend shift at the factory, and Mom's on the treadmill watching recorded episodes of Good Morning America. Something about this episode got to me. A cute older boy from Houston was on, and he was talking about how he was chosen to be the grand marshal of the city's pride parade. He was 17, sure, but compared to all the adults in the studio with him and the pictures of his whole community supporting him, he just seemed so young and, God, he was so confident. I wondered if he'd ever spent time in the closet or if he'd ever felt like he didn't belong. I wondered if I could ever be like him, to hear the word pride and know exactly what that means, what that feels like. To have your whole neighborhood behind you. All of a sudden, I started crying all over my math homework, and I'm not a crying person, even when it comes to math. To my classmates, I'd tested coming out in so many ways, directly dropping the words or slipping it into conversation to see if the other person is caught off guard. At this point, I was a pro at it. And though Jenna and I ran through every scenario, every possibility for telling my parents, when that guy on the TV started talking about what pride meant to him, I realized I wasn't just waiting for the right time. I was hiding this from my parents, and I didn't want to hide anymore. And well, try crying in front of your parents and then not explaining why. Yeah, that didn't work, so I told them. And Dad just kept saying how he wished he knew. I clear my throat. He knows our town. Village, she corrects me. In Ohio, it takes 5,000 residents to make a town. Jenna always likes to remind me that Barton Springs is many things, but with its 2,000 residents, it is not a town. Right, our village is a little backward sometimes. I sigh, like those idiotic "don't tread on me" bumper stickers. Oh, or the balls hanging from people's trucks. And don't get me started on the Confederate flags as you go further back into the farmlands, as if Ohio wasn't literally in the north. But I mean, it's my dad's hometown. He went to our school. My whole family lives within 20 miles of here. I pause for a moment, then say, do you think he finally gets that this isn't the most enlightened place for his gay kid to live? I bet that's it, she says, and I think about it. The bus pulls to a stop. Jenna and I stand to get off at the stop, along with the mayor's son, Brett, who's our across-the-street neighbor. I follow Jenna to the front of the bus and give our bus driver, Linda, a quick thank you. When we get off, I bend down to tie my shoe. Jenna starts. Do you think your dad will, I don't know, come up with some big gesture to overcompensate? What do you mean, I ask, as I finish tying my shoes. But when I look up, I see it. Everyone sees it. I mean, you can probably see it from an airplane. Some important context here. We have a flagpole in our front yard. It's never really bothered me. We just replace the American flag every few years. Try to remember to put it at half-mast when we're supposed to. Nothing big and flashy. Until today. My eyes lock on the huge, beautiful rainbow flag waving above me as the bus driver eases back onto the road. Yep, that's overcompensating. And this has been a preview of Small Town Pride.